Jan Logie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pleased to take a short call for the Green Party on the taxation annual rates for 2016-17, Closely Held Companies and Remedial Matters Bill 2016. As has been well covered by previous speakers, this is a very detailed piece of legislation covering a lot of ground. And the unifying thread of the legislation is tax, and beyond that it's a little bit hard to make out what the unifying concept is, and so much is covered in this piece of legislation. And I will list the pieces of legislation that are covered by this. It may be slightly painful, but I think if anybody is listening or reading the transcripts, it may be an easy way to work out if this covers an area that you are concerned with. So it will look at the annual rates for income tax, 2016, making changes relating to closely held companies, look-through companies and qualifying companies, non-residents withholding tax for related party and branch lending, the goods and services tax, related parties debt remission, loss grouping and imputation, remission income, insolvency and bankruptcy, aircraft overhaul reserves, New Zealand double tax agreements, Schedule 32 donee status for charities, land tainting and council-controlled organisations, loss offsets by mineral miners, working for families tax credits, information sharing, and the application of the time bar to ancillary taxes and other remedial amendments. So for all of those with a very keen interest in our taxation system, I hope that was helpful. For me, what characterises this legislation and what I can see in it at this stage is a sense of lost opportunity, really, more than anything in the detail, because I haven't, if truth be known, had the chance to go into it in its full depth yet. But we are aware, as my colleague James has spoken to quite significantly already, about the disappointment around the fact that it doesn't cover or provide any protections for us around foreign trusts to make sure that New Zealand's reputation is secured internationally and that we're keeping up with the movements in the world to protect the tax bases of each country and make it as difficult as possible for those with resources to be able to hide their wealth in other countries and avoid supporting the countries that have supported them so well. So this is a lost opportunity on that basis. I would also suggest that this bill is a lost opportunity in terms of addressing child poverty, because while it's making minor changes to the Working for Family tax credit, actually, whenever we look at the Working for Families tax credit, we have the opportunity to make an absolute difference and reduction to child poverty in this country. We know we have over 305,000 children living in relative poverty in this country, and massive material hardship, which means kids who don't have their own bed, who have never had a birthday in their life because their families don't have the money to be able to buy presents or put on a special dinner, of kids who are getting sick and being hospitalised because their families can't afford to heat their houses. Well, this bill could make those changes to Working for Families of bringing the in-work tax credit in line with the family tax credit, giving those poorest families who are not able to be in the workforce the $72.50 that other families who are able to work that 20 hours get. It would reduce inequality in our country and protect our most vulnerable children. It would also be an opportunity to reset the abatement rate for Working for Families, which the government has very sneakily been increasing, actually clawing back money from actually not particularly well-off people in this country, people who are still struggling and needing the support of working for families, to be able to give it to some of the poorest New Zealanders rather than taking it from the wealthiest. And I hope that we use this bill as an opportunity to promote transparency, be a good international citizen, and tackle child poverty. To me, that would make this bill interesting.
Penny,